Very good afternoon to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is 21st April 2024, Sunday class. We will be continuing our sharing from the Heart Sutra book that we have developed. So we are at page 23, chapter 4, Heart Sutra class, 4th Heart Sutra class. Okay, as usual, we will now compose our mind, develop the faith, Saddha, Virya. Then mindfully we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Panati Pata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Suramiraya Majapama Datana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, let us pay respect to Puja. Buddhang Pujayami Dhammang Pujayami Sanghang Pujayami. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe in their entirety, let the deities or Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddamang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakemokadang Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti peso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijacarana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati Satta deva manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipaseko Opanayiko Pachatang Veditabo Vinohiti Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Nyayapatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Samici Patipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Cattari Purisa Yogani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakhineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anutarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you can be seated. Before we start, I would like to just make known to Kayamita a very important announcement. The next book that we are supposed to firm out and come out with for sharing by all Kayamitas is a very unique book. It's a very good book. And we had actually put in a lot of extra effort and time with some very good suggestion and input from Sister Chui and our whole group of Kayamita who has helped out, including, of course, Sui, Sister Inbi, Brother Dion, and many others, those who did the transcript. So, in many areas, the book has been enhanced, especially from my colloquial language approach, which may only be suitable for true seeker of the way, because when they are interested in Dhamma, when they're really sick, they are more interested in the Dhamma. That's why these are the people who can still actually appreciate what I share, although my approach is more towards the colloquial type of English of the 60s and the 70s. But then with all this improvement and suggestion by Chui, especially Chui's input to improve the phrasing, paragraphing and explanation of the Dhamma in simple English, so that more cultivators who are less inclined towards the Dhamma can still benefit from it. Because the way it's been done up is very good, especially for new people. Then it is more appealing to most readers, because this book will look like a more up-to-date book, and it will stand out well. The title also is very beautiful. It is Unique Dhamma Code 105, where the gist of the title is Ultimate Enlightenment to transcend life, which is to transcend birth and death. Inside the book, which was based on my February 22nd Thursday class sharing, it has a lot of very important Dhamma understanding, especially the instruction to do awareness-based meditation. I have developed two versions of it, although we don't call it version in the book. Because towards the end, I think what Chui suggested is very good. It's not really a version. Like I said, it is awareness-based meditation instruction. So we change it to instruction on what date. The first version, which is the talk on that day, was awareness-based meditation instruction, dated 22nd February 2024. Then I added in the other version, which is based on my instruction, awareness-based meditation instruction, dated November last year, 2023. These two are complementary, and when you read them with enough cultivation, you will be able to absorb all the good understanding and progress accordingly, and maybe beautifully. So that is the reason why I need to share this part of the understanding with you all first. We are almost at the end of finalizing the book. We have finalized the content, everything. What we need to do is to have the final version of the book cover, which we have suggested 3, and finally we adopt the version 2. And I think it will depict very different approach to the book cover, which I find very appealing. So hopefully, when it's out, it can benefit more Kayamita and others who have the affinity to receive them. So watch out for this book. It's a very important book, very unique in its coverage. All these are described in the book actually, how extensive the Dhamma understanding has become, and how I link them all, how the whole teaching are all interconnected, and it's basically evolved from one teaching. the Four Noble Truths. Then the rest of the essential Dhamma, they spin off from that Four Noble Truths. And because of that, when you have the ability to understand all this and link them, it means you have the stability of understanding. And with that understanding, your wisdom will become very different, and it will become very penetrative, and you will understand not only the teaching, you will understand life, and you will know how to live life beautifully. Yeah. Then all the secret of life that is related to life, you will also develop the understanding. Then you will come to understand your mind very well. That there are two aspects to mind, the true mind and the mundane mind, and how through the mundane thinking, psychological time arises, yeah. And how psychological time is connected to the Dhammapada verses that the Buddha has come up with, and all the cultivation or the teachings that the Buddha has taught us, especially the teaching about the mind. Why the Buddha keep on emphasizing mind is the forerunner of all things, mind is chief, when mind arises, all things arise. Because this is the sainthood ways preliminary teaching of the Theravada tradition. The emphasis is on taking care of this mundane mind, the thinking mind. Then sati or mindfulness is actually the awareness nature within, the awareness before the knowing, the arising of thought. Yeah. But all this will not really elaborated and emphasized at the Theravada stage or the preliminary teaching stages, because more important is the training of that mind to become heedful, mindful, to develop the direct seeing and the awakening that can lead to all this understanding. So the emphasis at that time was to teach all this. It's just like when I go through the Heart Sutra, early day sharing, I taught most of the preliminary teaching. Then those more in-depth teaching of the Mahayana, I just mentioned them. I didn't go into it with much detail. Where at that time, most Kayamita were not ready. Hardly anybody at that time when I started can really follow or comprehend what has been taught. So I just skimmed through and left a lot of things for a later period when Kayamita has developed the progress and understanding. That's the reason why in our recent years retreat, ever since 2017 onward, when our website came out, a lot of the teaching has evolved and become very different, because it was the year towards the end of 2016. The Bodhisattva way also came about. Then all the causes and conditions fall into place. That's why all the sharing from 2017 onward, they become very different, very, very different. And because of that, it has evolved into our present days sharing format and understanding. In fact, over these last six to 7 years, now it's 7 years already. 7 coming to 8 already. A lot of our Kayamita's understanding has transformed, and most of them has progressed rather well. Quite a number of them not only located the gateway, they can even develop the transformation via the gateway fourth support, the awareness-based meditation, the fourth support of trust. And because of that, my nature was able to tap on the condition to share the more deeper understanding of the teaching. Then it was recently when I shared the unique Dhamma code in the Thursday class that all this special teaching and understanding came about. That's why in that talk, Unique Code 105, February 2024, I mentioned if you all can do the transcript of that sharing, it will help a lot of you all to develop the penetrative, clear understanding, and that will revolutionize the understanding of Kayamitas, in the sense that the full cultivation until the whole Bodhisattva way can be understood, especially the 5 stages of Bodhi mind development, stage 3 and stage 4. Bodhi mind that can illuminate that nature, and Bodhi mind that has the wisdom to renounce samsara. So all these are very important, very beautiful understanding that can give rise to a lot of faith, a lot of understanding and joy. So this is the brief summary of what it is. We will firm it up. We need to finalize it with a few more cleaning up, especially after my today's final cleanup. I will send to Chui and the other Kayamita for them to go through. Then Chui will do up a final copy for Puja site and others to do the proofreading, etc. before we finalize the book. We also need Brother Teo to help out in the printing format of the book. There was a suggestion that we use the standard font for most books, which is Romanized, not Calibra. I think it's Romanized character or what. Whatever it is, I leave it to Brother Teo and Chui to finalize that. Then the paragraphing, the spacing, we will make it more book form that is more professional in its outlook and approach. Okay, so with that, we will continue from where we stopped. We are at the 4th Heart Sutra class, page 23. We are at chapter 4 of 4th Heart Sutra class. This Heart Sutra class is a 3-hour class. Every Sunday we have it at that time. And we started, I think, in the early 2012. It is followed by meditation, and final session is reporting of meditation, followed by Q&A, question and answer, and sharing of whatever Dhamma. And this was conducted at the Mahayana Vihara, Wubing Jingse. That's why you see the heading is 4th Heart Sutra class, come meditation class by me at Wubing Jingse on the 4th of March 2012, time 3 to 6. So short notes taken to assist in developing clearer and better understanding of the sutta this class, they were shared. So we put under recapitulation. Okay, we start. 1.1. Emphasis on the previous session means the word emptiness. Emptiness is the English word, and sunyata is a Pali word. So emptiness is a term frequently used in the Mahayana tradition versus the term anatta or non-self, which is the equivalent term that is frequently used in the Theravada tradition. So this is to make clear. But for those who have the understanding, if you can penetrate anatta of the Theravada tradition, you can also penetrate sunyata of the Mahayana tradition. They are the same, no different, except the depth of understanding when it was taught at the Theravada tradition level. Because anatta is the third characteristic of the three universal characteristics that the Buddha taught. He said our conditioned world, the universe that we live in, especially the human race, we call it the conditioned world where everything arises and passes away, follow this nature's law of dependent origination or condition arising, causal phenomena. So what happened is, when the Theravada tradition teaching was taught to the world, what the Buddha wished to emphasize on is the three universal characteristics that exist within the conditioned world or the phenomenal world. So as we all have developed the understanding, the reason why our existence is called the phenomenal world is because through consciousness, we created the phenomenal world of consciousness and form. Because of our physical body, we have the senses. Upon contact with the consciousness trapped inside, it can give rise to the respective sense of consciousness, like what we have gone through. We have the ability to see through our seeing consciousness. We can be conscious of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we tactily feel and think. So our sixth sense now trigger of this respective six type of sense of consciousness. Then within this consciousness, we have the content of consciousness, which are mainly our aggregates of mind. The first aggregate is, of course, the form aggregate, the external form that we bring in through our perception. Then we have the aggregate of feeling. Then we have the aggregate of thinking, thought process. Then the mind state, the emotion, the various types of mental formation, mental intention, and a lot of things that the mundane mind or thinking mind can do. Is ability to plan, to scheme, to develop all the cunningness, the emotional negativity, the beautiful mind states. These are all part of sankhara, whatever the mind can do. In fact, it includes feeling and perception. We can perceive external phenomena and bring it into the mind. And most of these external phenomena are the external form. That's why perception brings in the rupa, or what we call the mental form. So with the other aggregates of mind, which is feeling, perception, and the sankhara activity and consciousness, we can become conscious of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we tactile feel and think. So that consciousness is the content plus the receptacle. So receptacle is the pure consciousness, vijnana, aggregate of mind. Then when we input the content through our views, opinion, conditioning, and what we call memory, it will develop into a thought process. And this is what we call our 5 aggregates of form and mind, the mental aspect. Yeah. So the Buddha, through his enlightenment, realized that everything within the conditioned world, including the 5 aggregates, they have 3 universal characteristics. First is the universal characteristics of impermanent. They arise and they pass away. They come and they go. That everything is dependent, originating, condition arising, causal phenomena. That's why these universal characteristics of impermanent can only be observed when you are mindful, aware. Without the awareness nature within, you cannot see them. You will be lost in thought, heedless. But the moment you are silent without thought, the awareness nature will be there. And once you are aware that silent observation of what is the reality that you observe, without word, without concept, without duality and idea. It is seeing things as they are, the direct seeing or the suchness seeing. So through that, you will come to understand clearly the impermanent characteristics of everything your mundane mind observes. Maybe feeling is the same. Upon contact, it arises and it passes away. And everything arises and passes away, come and go within the moment. But there is the only reality within our conditioned world. Perception also, the moment you perceive it arises, then it passes away. Then the next one, the next one. Then your mental activity also same. Your thinking, your planning, your scheming, your emotion, your whatever mind states. And every moment of consciousness also same. Arise and pass away, arise and pass away. Then all the activity and movement after it arises, like the Buddha said, in the seeing, initially it's just that consciousness, that seeing consciousness, no one to see. But then your egoic mind arises through your views, opinion, conditioning. It input the content. That's why it becomes egoic. That is like somebody see. And through that, it creates the false entity of a permanent, unchanging entity, which you believe is you. You say, I see, therefore I am. So the seeing takes on a personality which the Buddha calls is delusion, sakkayaditthi, self-delusion. So once you cling onto that, then you develop self-delusion. And because of that, it creates the entity of a personality trying to own things and have things. That's how the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion follow. You believe all these are real. You can own it. You can have it. And you can cling onto it and hold on to it as if they belong to you. Not knowing that all these are due to your sakkayaditthi, because you are not mindful, aware to see all this. You associate with the seeing through your egoic mind, the sakkayaditthi. Then everything becomes personal, like you exist. Then everything like become real. You try to own, you try to have, and you try to control, possess, and all this. This is how the teaching evolves out of that sakkayaditthi. So impermanent is the first characteristic that allows you to break free from this delusion of sakkayaditthi. If it's impermanent, how can it be a permanent, unchanging entity? How can it be you? Because everything is dependent, originating, condition arising, causal phenomena, arise and pass away. It's not a permanent, unchanging entity. Hence, from anicca, the universal characteristics is of impermanent. You come to realize that basically there is no permanent, unchanging entity for you to cling on to, hold on to, and grasp onto and say, this is me, this is I, therefore all this can be mine. So that is the first understanding that is very profound and very powerful. But as the teaching goes by, it becomes distorted and taught differently. Because people don't have the ability to develop this silent inner awareness to observe and understand through wisdom what this thing is. If it's not a permanent, unchanging entity, means they use the word non-self. Non-self means not you. But then they are not told, if it's non-self, not you, then what is this five aggregate of form and mind, the so-called human being? If it's impermanent and not you, then how come it arises? And it's connected to your karmic nature. The vehicle and the tool that come, if it's non-self, dependent, originating, not a permanent yet, then how come it is there? How come there is a law of karma that links this to the nature's law within our conditioned world, which the Buddha realized we are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. We are what we are because of karma. So this aspect was not linked, not interconnected to explain all this. That's why they only hold on to the concept of anatta, means non-self. That is not the precise understanding. Anatta doesn't mean non-self. That's why in the teaching, when we have the chanting at the retreat, we chant Rupang Anicca, Rupang Anatta. So when it comes to Rupang, it's external form and the physical body, isn't it? So when you say Rupang Anicca, we can understand. The external form and the physical body is anicca. But when it comes to Rupang Anatta, then you will be confused. Because according to the Buddha, the external form, like our table, our house, they are also anatta. You cannot say the table is non-self, understand? Or the house is non-self. Well, this has never been a living being, understand? But yet he say Rupang Anicca and Rupang Anatta. Means what? It's not a permanent, unchanging entity. It's way beyond non-self. Non-self is a term used for the physical body when we exist as a living being or a human being. Means it's not a permanent, unchanging entity where you can cling onto, grasp onto and say, this is me, this is I. That's why anatta meaning is, it is not a permanent, unchanging entity. Hence, everything that arises and happens is not real, not what you think. So the other deeper meaning is, apart from non-self, is the empty nature of existence. Understand? Empty nature. That's why it's linked to sunyata, emptiness. But this was not taught because over the years, the teaching that has evolved, people can't really develop the understanding to understand all this. So what has been passed on is, when you ask what is the anatta, universal character, or non-self, there is a standard answer. Non-self is actually the same. That's why the Buddha say aniccang, dukkang, anatta. He never say aniccang, dukkang, sunyata. Understand? So now the key thing is to clear up all this understanding, so once and for all, Dhamma practitioner can understand this universal characteristic clearly. So like the Buddha explained, anicca means with the silent mind in awareness you can see that everything is dependent, originating, continuing. Because with awareness you can see them coming and going, arising and passing away. Not a permanent, unchanging entity, no reality. And because of that, it's not only non-self, it's empty. Because everything is causal phenomenal, dependent, originating. When conditions like that, things are real, how can you say this is me, this is I? That is delusion. And because it functions this way, it follows nature's law. So when it follows nature's law, the Buddha came out with the second universal characteristic. That's why he said we learn to see things as they are. If you don't have the mindfulness and the awareness to see things as they are and allow your thought to distort what you see and what you perceive, then you will come out with a lot of thought, that process that create the concept, the idea, what they call duality, for you to grasp at, cling at, and create a lot of division, misunderstanding, argument. That's how the chaotic phenomenal world come to be. So through lack of understanding, we argue over something created by thought which is not a reality. This is an illusion. That's why the Buddha called it the illusionary world. The Mahayana understood. That's why they use that a lot. Our existential world is a phenomenal world of consciousness. And what is consciousness? It's an illusion. Where it's like the Buddha's analogy. Consciousness is like a magician or illusionist that create illusion for you to see. The moment the mind arises, mind is a forerunner of all things, mind is chief. And mind arises, all things arise. And how does the mind arise? Through contact. Upon contact between the external form and the consciousness, it triggers the respective consciousness and its content, and that's how the thought come to be, the five aggregate of form and mind. Then this one is like a magician. Through consciousness, it created the existential world. Then you give meaning, you grasp, you cling, you hold, and this is where everything happens. It has the power to delude, deceive, entice, and create delusion to cause attachment, grasping, clinging. So all this, when you are mindful, aware, you can see, you can awaken. Then you realize it is all following the nature's law of karma niyama, chitta niyama, and dhamma niyama, the three right view. Then you have to come to terms with the reality and accept them for what they are. Like the Buddha said, learn to see things as they are, not according to how you perceive it through your mundane thinking, memory, views, opinion, conditioning, belief system. Your accumulated memories with its views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, phobia, etc. So all these other understanding, which I have explained very clearly in the new book that is going to come out. And once you read the book, you will understand all this. Then you can penetrate these three characteristics of nature, anicca, dukkha, anatta, very easily. And once you penetrate, you will awaken. So if it's anicca, if I want things my way, which is not in accordance with nature's way, which is following the nature's law, pancha niyama, then what happens? Suffering will arise, isn't it? Because you can't get what you want, you suffer. That is the first noble truth reality. One of the 8 reality. When you cannot get what you want, suffering comes to be. When things don't go your way, suffering comes to be. So having this understanding and wisdom to come to terms with whatever that arises within the moment is wisdom. See, we are seeing things as they are. We are the direct seeing. That's why the Surangama Sutta, the verse, perception of form is consciousness, like a magician. It's very beautiful. Whereas it's non-perception through the direct seeing, the pure awareness nature, is wisdom. And that is the direct seeing. Seeing things as they are, the real wisdom that will arise. Whereas the conscious seeing through the mundane mind is mundane seeing. Before you become enlightened, that one distort what you see and create all the delusion, the scarcity that transform into the evil roots that actually create the chaotic phenomenal world, suffering, conflict, argument within the conditioned world. So all this, the understanding will manifest. Okay, so this is the first part of the explanation of why the word sunyata only appear frequently in the Mahayana Sutta, whereas in the Theravada tradition Sutta, that word is there, sunyata is there, but most of the time, the more popularly used term is anatta. But if you penetrate the Theravada tradition's teaching to realize what anatta is, then you will have the same understanding as the Mahayana who have realized sunyata. Yeah. So that part is very beautiful. But you must go through the Theravada tradition's cultivation to understand anicca and dukkha before you complete the whole understanding with the third characteristics, universal characteristic or anatta. So anicca, dukkha, anatta is taught at the Theravada tradition level with the preliminary teaching. Yeah. Then when you understand all this, you will penetrate the higher teaching of sunyata, which is emptiness. Everything is not what you think. That's why when I share and I teach, that understanding comes from the Mahayana tradition. I always say, he know me, he know you. That entity which living being cling on to, hold on to is an illusion, is a delusion, scarcity, and an illusion, not real. So if everything is just the way it is, he know you, he know me, then how real can life be? That's why everything is empty nature of existence, no reality. We cannot deny that we were born, we went through life, we experienced all this. We go through our consciousness to perceive and experience all this, all our accumulated experiences. End of the day, I ask you one question, is it real? You can only recall through memory. 往事只能回味. If you cannot recall through memory, they are as good as they don't exist. It's just nature's law. Like one of my other teacher, Ajayendra, used to say, it's only mighty nature rolling by. Existence is just like that. Mighty nature with its set of nature's law, the Panjaniyama, rolling by. No reality. He know you, he know me. Everything is just the way it is. The isness of things. Ta. Yeah. So all this understanding will fall into place. Okay, we move on. So 1.1, first part we have finished. Second part, importance of understanding why our physical form and all external form can also be expressed as form is impermanent, brings about suffering when we deludedly cling on to it without understanding, and is empty or anatta nature. So this understanding is very important. To understand it clearly, we must have the ability to see its manifestation via mind perception with clear mindfulness. See, the emphasis is mindfulness. to recognize it as condition arising phenomenon. Hence, it is not a permanent, unchanging entity. That's why I bold this. That we can cling onto or hold onto as the I and the me, or own as the mind. Thus, seeing it as empty nature, sunyata, or stroke anatta, because it has no apparent reality. Everything just come and go within a moment, and that's the only reality. But that one is just an apparent reality. Because if it's so transient, how real can it be? And yet, that is the only reality in life, in existence, the present moment, which is that moment when things arise and pass away. Also, a cultivator needs to develop the wisdom to understand why form is external manifestation of mind. So that time, I just give you this hint. Inquire why I say form is external manifestation of mind. Without mind, do you think you can perceive form? You can't, isn't it? That's why via a clear and stable daily mindfulness cultivation, you will understand this. Then you realize form does not exist until you perceive it. That's why form that is being perceived is actually an external manifestation of mind. When you perceive it through the external object, the external form, then you take it into the mind. That's why that external form has become a manifestation that your mind created. So form is external manifestation of mind. Where you see it, hear it, smell, taste, tactily, feel, and through the memory, recall. All these are through the mundane mind in the form of consciousness and its content. So that very perception of form is the creation from the mundane mind. That's why we call it form is external manifestation of mind. Without the mind, it cannot manifest. Understand? That's why it's called external manifestation of mind. Then form delusion can be very powerful. Hence, if you can't see form, which we have gone through, you can't see mind. Well, mind is much more grosser. Whereas, because form is much more grosser. Whereas mind is more subtle, or very subtle. However, with wisdom, born of the direct seeing, form and mind delusion will cease to be, leading to enlightenment in the here and the now. So now you understand how form delusion can create a lot of problem to human beings or living beings. So form delusion can be very powerful because we tend to grasp at everything we come to perceive through the senses. The moment we open our eye, the seeing consciousness manifests the external color, shape and form. Everything that you come to perceive within your seeing consciousness, they arise already, appear so real and so luring, and it can even entice you to believe that they are real, they exist. Then you can touch it, feel it. That's why it's so solid. How can you say this is not real? This does not exist. No, they exist within the conventional term. Because whatever that is perceivable by the mind to the human being is real, perceptible. Whatever that the senses of the human mind cannot perceive, they say don't exist, not real. But we have proven that that is false. Because within our phenomenal world, there are a lot of frequency that is beyond our senses. Certain type of frequency we can't see, whereas the non-human, they can see. The Devas, they can see. Then some range of hearing consciousness, the vibration, when the pitch is too high or too low, you cannot hear. Your hearing range, the audible frequency, is limited. That's why whatever we can perceive through our senses is limited by our form and mind. And that is the reality. So unless you meditate, develop the awareness nature within, you cannot go beyond what you have comprehended through your thought process via your senses. Where our senses is very limited. Whereas consciousness, the inner awareness, that one is beyond thought, beyond mind. It's way beyond what the mundane mind can grasp, cling, and understand. That's why if you cannot realize the awareness nature within, or stay with the awareness nature to develop the wisdom and the understanding and the cultivation, you cannot progress within. You cannot progress beyond, the word should be beyond, your mundane consciousness ability to comprehend things. Because the mundane mind can only develop knowledge. That's why it's thought-based, knowledge-based. It cannot understand things that are beyond thought, beyond mind, beyond the conditioned world. So all this development of wisdom and understanding, you can only realize them when you have gone beyond thought, beyond mind, to realize the nature within, which is our pure awareness nature. The nature that first manifests from our Buddha nature or the source. And that is the one that living being cannot gain access to, cannot develop the ability to see it or realize it, and because we are so heedless, deluded. We think a lot since birth until now, so conditioned. Without thought, we cannot live. We are so dependent on the thought process. So this awareness-based meditation revolutionized the understanding of the teaching, the Dhamma. That's why the Buddha emphasized so much on sati, mindfulness, awareness. It's not so much on the thought. The thought is to understand the karmic process, the conditioned world's nature's law, means the conditioned Dhamma within the conditioned world. But beyond the conditioned world, to realize the unconditioned Dhamma, which is transcendental, you need the awareness nature. You need the direct seeing, the awakening, the see things as they are, to go beyond thought, beyond mind, to realize the Dhamma that has the unique characteristics as proclaimed by the Buddha under his proclamation of the Dhamma that he has realized. That's why he says, Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. Well expounded is the Dhamma by the Buddha. And that is the first unique characteristic. Then followed by, this Dhamma, he said, not only well expounded, it is sanditiko, can be realized in the here and the now. Then it is akaliko, beyond thought, beyond mind. That is the third universal characteristic. Then it can be investigated upon. Where is the truth? We stand up to investigation. That's why he called it ehipasiko. Then opanayiko, leading inward to the heart. Then pacetang, veditabo, venuhiti, can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. So these are the beautiful, unique characteristics of the Dhamma that can only be realized by the wise, each for themselves, through the cultivation of this awareness-based meditation, to realize the inner awareness within. Okay, so we finished number 3. Number 4, definition of a samana. A samana is a renounced holy person in the room. seriously cultivating the Buddha Dhamma as taught by the Buddha to realize enlightenment. He or she is also usually referred to as one who is already enlightened. The term is used as opposed to the other term, Brahmin, who studied the Vedas, the Hindu teaching, during the time of Sakyamuni Buddha. To a samana, spiritual understanding is very important. Because without spiritual understanding, one cannot be free. One cannot understand the problem and realities of life and existence. There is a recently printed book for free distribution by Wave, and the title of the book is Samana, on the life of the late Longta Mahaboa. Our Kayamita Fund has also donated towards this printing for free distribution. Hence, we were given some copy of this book for free distribution by Wave, and anyone who is interested in having a copy can request it from me. Yeah. Okay, so at least we finish 1.1. Yeah? So 1.2, the essential understanding. This is a recap, summary of what we have gone through. The importance of understanding true emptiness is wonderful existence, leading to our ability to live life meaningfully and to the fullest. So this one is important. To realize this, we must realize both the conditioned Dhamma and the unconditioned Dhamma. Otherwise, you cannot develop the understanding. The true blessing comes from our own cultivation. We are karmic inheritance and nothing else. That is not due to your luck, feng shui, etc. Pay attention to this. Don't be gullible and go and believe all those things. We are in the teaching is very clearly explained by the Buddha under his fifth daily contemplation. He said, we are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. We are what we are because of our karma. So if you don't take care of karma, you expect your life to become different? You expect your luck to improve? No. That's why true blessing comes from your own cultivation. You cultivate Noble Eightfold Path with wisdom, with understanding. Then through the right view, you develop the right understanding to cultivate all the Noble Eightfold Path factors of right view leading to right thought, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Then cultivating the four right effort to further purify, then cultivating right mindfulness and samadhi to develop the wisdom and awakening. So these are the understanding. Do not be gullible. Then number 3, the importance of cultivating a very stable sati or mindfulness leading to heedfulness or apanamada throughout the day. So this one has been emphasized and explained many times. Stabilize your sati or mindfulness leading to heedfulness or apanamada throughout the day. So when you can be ever mindful, constantly meditative throughout the day, that is the beginning of progress, of real cultivation. Then the next part is part 4. The importance of repentance and asking for forgiveness sincerely. When you forgive someone, you actually free yourself from the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. So this part also very important, because within the conditioned world, like the Buddha said, we are all born our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned, supported by our karma, and we are what we are because of our karma. So all our suffering, our entanglement, and our misery, they come from what? Karma. So if you don't take care of karma, karma can never help you free your mind. Unless you take care of karma, then karma will help you take care of your life. So these two are interrelated. So in order to develop the understanding to actually change your life, you need to understand if whatever happened that caused me suffering and misery is related to karma, what must you do? You must develop the wisdom to accept the reality of what happened here. Because like the Buddha said, it has to do with your karma. Either in the past, you have developed all this negativity and caused so much suffering. That's why this life, you reap what you sow. Do good, we get good. Do evil, we get evil. So all this negativity or karmic friction that come back and haunt you and cause you suffering and misery has a lot to do with what you do in the past. If that is what you have done, and these are the causes and conditions that condition the karmic friction. So what must you do? First, come to terms with the reality, accept via right view that this has a lot to do with your karma. So you accept. Then you vow to change. By first thing you have to do is to ask for forgiveness, cultivating repentance. So you need to ask for forgiveness sincerely. The word is sincerely. Because this karmic obstruction, they will continue to haunt you and obstruct you from moving away from that karmic negativity. So karmic obstruction can be very real. And to break karmic obstruction, the first thing you must do is to ask for forgiveness. Otherwise, it's not easy. It will continue to haunt you. Then after you ask for forgiveness or repentance, what must you do? You must vow not to repeat all this sincerely, so that it will not continue to come back and haunt you. So to do that, you must follow the advice of the Buddha to avoid all evil, do good, and purify your mind, so that all this karmic negativity will not continue from now onward to create causes and conditions to haunt you in the future. That's why the three things that I teach Kayamita who has problem with their karmic to do is to ask for repentance first. Then based on that understanding, sincerely vow not to repeat all this wrong thing. We are following the advice of the Buddha. So when you follow the advice of the Buddha means what? You determine to avoid all evil via keeping your precept. That's how the teaching starts. That's why you are told to recite and renew your 5 precepts after every Dhamma session or every day. So asking for forgiveness to avoid all evil, to break the karmic obstruction, and to develop the appropriate understanding to avoid evil, we are following the advice of the Buddha is very important. So that is the reason why you keep your precept. By keeping your precept, you can avoid all evil. We are breaking precept, the 5 precepts, the basic 5 minimum, basic 5 precepts, constitute major evil. That's why you have to keep your precept to avoid all evil. Then do good means what? Develop mindfulness, heedfulness, to cultivate the right view, to condition the right thought, right speech, right action, and right living. So this is how you do good. Means cultivate wholesomeness, goodness, virtue. All these are free of the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. And because they are free of the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion, these are all wholesomeness, goodness, like sincerity, honesty, loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, wisdom. So, understanding this can develop a lot of virtue, wholesomeness, and parami that can allow you to develop the good life. But once you have no more negativity and you start to cultivate wholesomeness or virtuous action, speech, and thought process, then your positive karma, your wholesome virtue or quality, they will start to manifest. And according to law of karma, you reap what you sow. So you will receive back a lot of wholesomeness, a lot of virtue, a lot of goodness. So this will become your new inheritance. So when you cultivate a lot of good virtues, parami, all this will protect you and bring forth the causes and conditions for you to receive them. Whatever goodness, wholesomeness, virtue that you have cultivated, they become your good blessing, karma. You reap what you sow. So you will receive all this. We are the law of karma. That's why we are following the advice of the Buddha to avoid all evil, do good, and finally to purify your mind to your wisdom. You can become very virtuous, very wise, and you can root out your delusion. So when you have enough cultivation of the advice of the Buddha to bring forth the great support from your virtuous action, your good karmic inheritance, then you can evoke power of merits from your good karma, your wholesomeness that you have developed, your virtue. They will protect you and guide you and help you to realize what you want. So invoking power of merit for causes and conditions for you to progress along the path of Dhamma is one of the good usage of this parami. The other one is to arise causes for you to overcome your whatever karmic obstruction, thereby enabling your form and mind to have a second chance at living life and to overcome whatever karmic obstruction or negativity that you are facing, or recover back to good mind state so that you can live your life in accordance with the Dhamma, to realize all the wholesomeness and enlightenment in the here and the now, born of that understanding. So these three are very important understanding and virtue. Ask for forgiveness through repentance. Then you do what you have to do. Vow not to repeat all this. We are following the advice of the Buddha to avoid all evil, do good, and purify the mind. Then through that, you develop a lot of virtue, wholesomeness, merits, blessings. Then you can invoke power of virtue, blessing, and wholesomeness for causes and conditions to benefit your nature's coming. It can be cultivation or overcome whatever life situation or problem that you may be facing. Even to recuperate from your sickness, disease, or whatever, you can invoke power of merits to that direction. All these are possible. Okay, we stop here. It's almost 4:15 already. We stop here. Part 2, Introduction 1, means page 10 to 12 of Master Hsuan Hua's commentary. So this one is touching on Master Hsuan Hua's very unique birth and life history, etc. Then there's a question I remember which is very good. We will cover this in our next session. Okay, so for the time being, we will stop here. I will mark this page. We will off the light so that you all can have your 45 minutes of awareness-based meditation. You can now slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. then try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. So the ability to develop the stability of inner awareness or mindfulness within is the first step towards progress. Understanding the first step is very important. If you cannot develop the ability to stabilize the awareness nature within, it's very difficult for you to maintain awareness within, because the mundane mind is so conditioned, and split second is already lost in thought, back to the normal healer's way of doing things. So awareness-based meditation requires a lot of understanding and patience. But once you understand, you can develop it very fast. And the moment you develop it, you will progress. And ability to stabilize it will let you develop the understanding much better. So this part, pay attention. Okay, now we will go back to the second session, which is meditation reporting, followed by whatever question you may have. Then we can have our sharing of the Dhamma. As Kayamita has developed progress and understanding, you can also share your whatever good Dhamma understanding or experience that you have developed. It can come in the form of Dhamma within your daily life or within part of your career or any other aspect of cultivation as it dawns upon you the understanding. Today's topic, how you find it?
Actually, earlier I didn't really listen much because I was listening on, but I was, because I just came back from outside.
Oh, no wonder. So you were busy with something else.
Yeah, didn't really hear, but I think Brother Teo was talking about sunyata and
Yeah. Why is the word sunyata seldom used in the Theravada tradition? It's in the teaching. It appears, I think, in certain area of the sutta, but it's seldom shared and taught. And this term is more popular in the Mahayana Sutta. And what is being shared in the Theravada tradition is mainly the three universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. And basically, those who can penetrate anatta at the Theravada tradition will really have the understanding of what sunyata is in the Mahayana tradition, because there is no difference actually. And I also elaborate on the understanding of it and the cultivation of it, and how all this can be developed through the proper understanding and cultivation. That's why I explain the overall concept of the three universal characteristics and how it leads to the final understanding of the universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta, and from there, how the similarity with sunyata can also be understood. But most Theravada practitioner or cultivator, they tend to have a limited understanding of what anatta is. Most of them just assume that the teaching is such that anatta means non-self, and they just stop there. But the actual meaning of anatta is much deeper and wider. It's not just non-self. Non-self is just an aspect of anatta, but the true understanding of the anatta nature is seldom elaborated or taught. That's why in my sharing I explain them and how it has evolved over the years and become like that. Then how through the understanding, when you develop the awareness within, you can understand clearly how the Buddha actually put forth the cultivation and how the true understanding of anatta can bring forth the clear meaning of asunyata, which is empty nature of existence, not a permanent, unchanging entity, and how the universal characteristics are linked to the conditioned world. Because only within the conditioned world you have the three universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. And when you penetrate them and realize that they are all interconnected, then the meaning of sunyata will appear. Then from there you realize when you penetrate the true anatta understanding of the Theravada tradition, you will also develop the wisdom to penetrate the sunyata understanding of the Mahayana tradition. So this link is very important. Yeah, anyway, you continue with whatever you want to share or report or even question. Yeah,
Yeah, brother, I find it quite helpful, and the understanding, I think, is much better than before.
than before, definitely. Then in the initial introduction, when I talk about the new book, were you listening?
Yeah, here and there. Yes, you're talking about.
That part very important. That new book, the format is all different. You go and listen to it again and watch out for that book. Once the book come out, it can help a lot of you all to develop the clear understanding. And this time the English and presentation of it has been improved. Not so much of my style of the colloquial language approach, but more towards the general reader's approach, where people who may not have their past cultivation, but they are interested in understanding what this teaching or Dhamma is, they can also develop quick understanding to develop the interest to go into it. Previously, my approach can only appeal to sincere, serious cultivator of the way who are interested in the Dhamma. Where then they will listen attentively for the Dhamma, the pointer, the important keywords. And then they will benefit. Then they can, from there, appreciate the teaching better and go into the cultivation on their own. But apart from all these serious cultivator, those who may not have the interest, they find the sharing like quite down, in the sense that a lot of the terminology or words that I use are not something that they are familiar with. That's why not easy to have sufficient listener to develop the interest of this teaching. But that is meant to be because initially, as you all understand, to go for the Dhamma, to understand the Dhamma is not easy because it's a spiritual thing. Not easy for people to develop the interest, and most people will not have the patience and the interest to listen to a type of sharing which is 2-3 hours long or sometimes 3 hours plus long if they cannot develop clear understanding. And the approach to it is more colloquial, where you need to have the interest to grasp. But now with this new format is different. The English is phrased in such a way that it is very easy to comprehend, very clear, and the emphasis are all there, very clearly spelled out, so that normal reader can develop the interest because it draws you into it. Actually, a lot of my sharing, the pointer and the hint, they are very penetrative and deep. But unless you are a cultivator, you cannot capture them or cannot really see them or develop the interest in them. But now the way it is being formatted, that's why I say Chui help a lot in presenting the English that is appealing to these people. And through that, I think more and more people will develop interest and clearer understanding towards this teaching. And like Chui put it correctly, it doesn't give justice to the profoundness of my teaching, the uniqueness and the beauty of that teaching, the Buddha Dhamma. So because of that, he determined and talked to me and appealed to me that let her help out to make these changes possible. And we were very fortunate that we are able to achieve that part, which I actually felt it in the early days. Then when that format was developed out through all the good cooperation and sharing, all this evolved to become something very clear and very beautiful. But the most important is the initial input by Chui. Those suggestions were all very good. And the English that is to be developed to present it clearly was achieved. That's why finally, because of my approach, that whole format actually transformed into a document that is so beautiful. So nowadays, based on Jewish advice, we don't call it a transcript anymore. We call it a teaching, a Dhamma teaching. Then we approach it from developing a document, means a proper book or document for people to read with understanding and interest, so that they can also develop the progress, the interest and the progress. So wait for the book to come out. That one is very, very useful, and it really completely different. Now the book is so different. Although the essence, the gist of it is still there, but now it can be understood so easily and so clearly. And both even serious cultivator and reader, they can both develop the understanding, of course, with the aided improvement in the English language presentation. It has become a very effective document to serve both serious cultivator and new people. And with this, my nature realized it's meant to be a lot of cultivators who have the interest from now onward. When they receive this type of book, they will read with interest and develop the understanding and transform or progress very fast. So this is the beginning of the very very clear transformation or switch over from the traditional approach of colloquial sharing to the new approach. So we will be able to witness this phase. That's why from this year onward, 2024 onward, a lot of things will manifest and happen. Then later, as we move on to next year or what, you will understand what I mean, what I say. Wait till the book come out. Okay, Maya, back to you.
Sadhu, Brother Teo, and also to Sister Chui for
and many others, even Sui, Brother Teo, Ingbi, and Chin Hao still at the retreat, but I think later he will contribute too. So there are a few key people, and those who did the initial transcript, because we move from transcript to improvement to the document. So what we do is the approach this time is different. They do the transcript means verbatim. They send to me. Then Puja coordinate. Then I clean it up. The first round of cleaning up by me is very important because that is the understanding behind to clean up and improve on the flow of language or things which I have acquired over the years of doing this transcript. Then after I clean it up, I pass it to Chui, and Chui was the main one behind to improve the language flow and all those things. So he sent to me with a lot of good suggestions. Then I look at it, I adopted most of it. Then there are certain parts that I feel the meaning has run, because at the language level, Chui is good, but at the cultivation level, Chui is still not able to grasp most of the thing. So because of that, after I did it, and she came over to my house together with Sui and me, we go through, it has cleaned up a lot of the understanding. That's why we had the final draft document reset and done up. And that one is very useful, very helpful. So because of that, we actually clean it up one more time, which is based on yesterday and today latest. I think I have more or less got the whole thing. Then the cover also, I think quite a number of them work on it. So with all this, it will definitely help. And the document, after I read, it has become so beautiful, like so clear. If like that also you all cannot understand, means 赶考了, susah already. So hopefully when it come out, you all can look at it, then develop the clear understanding. I think our brother Kwa from Penang will benefit a lot once the new document is out. Kwa, pay attention to this new book.
Yeah, I look forward to that, Brother Teo.
Yeah. That one will help you a lot.
Yeah,
Because you now have gone in yourself and developed quite a lot of understanding. But with that book, the whole thing become like crystal clear to you.
Sadhu, Brother Teo, sadhu.
Yeah. You will definitely find it very useful. Once it's finalized, before we send for the print or what, I will email you a copy first, a soft copy. But you keep it to yourself. That one is for you.
Thank you, Brother Teo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sadhu.
Yeah. Okay, Maya, you continue.
All right. But you are so lucky. But it is true, like the previous book, the one that you just published, the one that I came and took, when I read
That
it
one
also
improved already. But this one, a lot more improvement.
I
The
will
Pali and Nibbana, that one also improved already. The English has improved a lot.
But that one also, when I read, suddenly, yeah, Brad, you mean like that, or it like kind of trigger me. Hey, how come last time I never see it that
You
way?
cannot understand, but now you can understand. Because the expression of it, the way I actually try to explain it, because of all the feedback, especially early day, NB, they all, I realize not everybody are cultivator. Not everybody can pick up the important pointer and important words, Dhamma term that can actually trigger our understanding, except serious cultivator like some Kayamita. One of them is Song, who read and read and read, listen and listen, even Alicia, they all, Puching, they all. These are the people who can understand. But then I realized not everybody can grasp it. So in that edition and also this coming edition, we have put in brackets some of the explanation that link it. But this time is better based on Jewish suggestion. Everything that is not so clear or maybe ambiguous to non-cultivator, I have to put in the full explanation inside, like pure awareness nature. So last time I put PA, a lot of area PA. Then even the pure awareness nature, I just, when I go to the next sentence to describe it, I say this, I use the word this, then I point to the whiteboard. But people don't know what that thing is. So this, when I point to the whiteboard, means when you are here, I say here, but actually it's a pure awareness nature there, the direct seeing all that. So Chui has make it a point. All this has been cleaned out and put in the actual meaning that I wanted to express. So now it's a lot more clearer, then more standardized. He standardized a lot of things, which is very useful, and it makes the book more pleasant to read. Means more professional in its approach with clarity of presentation and language approach. So all these are very useful and helpful, and we should thank the team, especially Chui, for the good suggestion. And my nature really rejoiced, and my nature realized this is the phase that this thing has to happen already. It's like meant to be. We are otherwise the one that receive my this teaching only limited to serious people, those that really have the interest, the passion, and really wants to understand. Then they will look for it. That's why you look at our Dhamma website. I had already shared with many other Kayamita, and in fact, Chin Hao was the one that helped me to do up the website, and he got all the feedback from the YouTube, everything. It's from him that I came to know that now the subscriber base has hit above 600 now, 600 something, and it's still increasing and moving up. And with that new book, I think within a year or one, you can see that one shoot up very fast. Because what happened is our Kayamita group, in fact, total Kayamita, I don't think will exceed 150. But the active one that are with us is less than 100 actually. Yeah, less than 100. Or maximum 100. So what happened is, those who click on the subscribe and the like and the bell, they have hit actually 600 something now, which means more than 80% are not Kayanamitas now, but they are consistently receiving all this YouTube video sharing and Dhamma sharing and listening to it attentively. And recently, over the last few years, especially after 2017, many of them, I don't know one, they wrote to me, expressing their gratitude and thanks for making the Dhamma so easy to comprehend and develop as practice or cultivation. And it has benefited them a lot. So all this will arise and continue to happen where it's meant to be. And that phase is just for serious cultivator. That's why when this new book come out, I think more and more people who are normal people who just like to find out more about religion or the Buddhist teaching, the Buddha Dhamma, others things, then once they receive this type of sharing and teaching, and the book, especially the Path to Nibbana and our coming book, they read and they will become different. Yeah. they will develop the understanding and the clear interest to move on their own. And through the word of mouth, all this will spread and become like something that is meant to be. Then all this will spin off a lot of activity that will trigger the new, hopefully with the new understanding of this teaching, it can help many cultivators of the way to develop the progress, then transform the totality of consciousness for our world. And hopefully in the not too distant future, this understanding can transform more and more living beings' understanding so that their consciousness can also evolve and transform. And when they can all develop until they can live the awareness-based nature, when they can live from there to become more aware in the midst of life, means to be heedful most of the time. So that consciousness will become very powerful, and it can trigger off a lot of good transformation to the world, the totality of consciousness as a whole. Well, as this one expand, what you need is the critical mass. Like I said, maybe 0.1% of the total world population that has this awareness and consciousness to develop the transformation. And then it will set off and it will trigger off. And this movement will become faster and faster and faster. But that critical mass needs some time, not so fast, not so easy. But at least this is the beginning. Yeah. So looks like it's meant to be. A lot of such thing will happen. Yeah. Okay, Puja, sorry, Mun Yuen, back to you. Yeah.
Radio, but sometimes I think also whether we have what it takes to understand Dhamma is also what we have experienced in life. Like,
yeah, very true. What you say is very true. Yeah.
Like last time, if you tell me old age, sickness and death.
That time you cannot understand. You don't pay serious attention. But to you, what is all this? But the last few years after you have gone through your auntie, your parent, everything, the understanding like completely different for you now. No?
Yeah, very different. Even if, when I was young, I have a grandmother also.
But that time you were not sensitive. You were not able to pay attention to all this. Your life was too good. You were still young. And where got time to listen to old age, sickness and death?
Yeah, true. But now...
Because you haven't reached that maturity and understanding yet.
Yeah, and so when I understand that, and then when I read the Dhamma again,
completely different, isn't it?
Yes, it stands out, and I understand what Brother Teo is trying to tell us. Maybe not all, but still some understanding there, and I know why, and I also the Brother Teo always trying to tell us, but sometimes the button doesn't get pressed into us.
Not the right timing yet. When the timing comes, it like trigger off.
Like 美鸡谁啊?
美鸡谁呀? Correct, that is the right word. Because a lot of human beings living in our planet, especially human beings, they actually haven't realized the danger of being heedless. Without the Dhamma understanding. But to them, most of them think life is just to compete, to be successful, and to make a lot of money, and to have the good life. because they don't see the realities of life and existence, especially the First Noble Truth, a reality yet. And most of them don't bother about this eight reality, but to them is chasing after the material life, the success in material life, or some struggling to survive, to find their way through in life. So a lot of them were afflicted, full of suffering, misery. Well, this is the karmic thing, payback time. And most of them can't understand. And like you mentioned just now, it takes you quite a while. Even like cultivator like you, it takes you quite a while. Because when we were young, most of us, I won't say all, we don't have time for spiritual thing. Not until they hit problem. They hit certain very severe obstruction, karmic obstruction, or certain milestone in their life and career that trigger of the desperate need for answer to understand why life can be so difficult and so tough. They won't search. Then most of them, after they search, they got the answer and they recover, they forgot about the spiritual thing again. Then they continue their old way and they again land themselves into trouble. Until like you mentioned just now, Meiji say, haven't wake up yet. Then only they want to be serious about life. But then it's too late, understand? By then they are maybe like your age, coming to 50 already, or 40 something already. Of course, not too late, but to me is you have not much time left, because let's say you live until 80, maybe another 30 years or 30 over years. But you cannot guarantee that these 30 over years you can be in the state of mind, the good health and good condition to cultivate this teaching and to develop the understanding and progress. That's why you need the Bodhisattva way to have all this understanding, so that when they are born, when they are young, all this understanding will come back to them. Then they will be able to receive the Dhamma early. But these type of beings are less common. I should say uh, very rare breed. Like you can't find them. And most people are not of that ability. That's why the majority are the normal living beings who are more keen towards like compete among themselves to be successful in the materialistic aspect of life and to develop their own ambition, fantasy, and all those things to be successful in life, mainly towards the materialistic success, the financial, the wealth aspect, thinking that with good career, good financial success, they will have the means to have the good life. But most people realize after they achieve good, maybe financial success and also good career, their family life is still upside down. And sometimes they still have a lot of First Noble Truth reality problem, especially regarding old age, sickness, and death as they draw nearer to being older. After they hit 60 and above, then they realize this one start to haunt them. Then they have more and more relationship problem, and a lot of things that they encounter in life, they cannot resolve it amicably. Then sometimes there is still attachment, fear, worry, anxiety, clinging, grasping. So all this are the realities of life and existence that can haunt living beings. That's why to really develop the serious intent to cultivate and go this way, you need to have good parami, good karmic affinity with the triple gem, or spiritually inclined towards spiritual teaching and understanding of life. So all this is what we witness within the world. That's why what you share actually is this phase where most people have to go through. So in the early years when I came out to share all this, most people cannot understand, because I don't blame you all, because at that era and at that time, the understanding was very, very shallow, very limited. Then for me, I find it strange because I searched very young. Like I said, 1971, that thing started. Then when I came to understand what all this in 1989, I was 35 years old. So to me, I thought everybody was more or less like me. What you need is the teaching. So when I was asked to come out to share 16 years later by 15 years later by Sister Yuen Chan, which is the year 2004, I realized a lot of you cannot understand what I try to share. Because at that time, most of them are not ready. They don't have the understanding. That's why I explained the whole thing to you all. Initially, I tried to teach the teaching. Then I realized hardly anybody understands. So I revert backward, slow down everything, and started from the basic understanding of the core teaching of the Buddha. That's why I started with the Four Noble Truths, the three turning. Then I try to link up all the essential Dhamma. Then I teach the preliminary teaching. Then only later on I slowly go into mindfulness awareness. So all this is described in the next book. That's why the next book have a whole summary of what my nature did. And that was very beautiful. There is a book that describes comprehensively and able to link up all the cultivation. Of course, with the help of Brother Song's interaction, where he started developing very serious interest in the unique Dhamma code the last 2-3 years. And to him, that thing is so beautiful. And every time I share the unique Dhamma code in the Thursday class, it like have very strong imprint on his nature, and he like keep on receiving all this understanding and awakening, because he actually read through them, listen to them, and contemplate, reflect, and did a lot of cultivation. So because of that, it triggered off all the Q&A thing, which helped a lot. So this book also same, the coming book, the new book. Then this time around, Sui also contribute one very beautiful understanding. That one was surprisingly, after we actually improved the language flow, it come out so beautifully. That part of the understanding is really, really beautiful. You read through, you will know. Because he just say the nature inside want her to share that part. Then she started to give example on the duality and all those things. The way people see things. Then he gave the example of the deaf person who cannot hear. To them is there is no sound. So no sound means no mundane duality or good sound, bad sound, all those sound. Good for health. So then the whole thing link up with the Surangama Sutta and the whole understanding. And it came out so beautiful. That's why all this is like meant to be. And that section You go and read. It will help you understand. Well, a lot of things that we think is real and we give so much meaning to it, argue over it, fight over it, and quarrel over it, is actually illusionary, not real, not what you think. Because you don't have the mindfulness to understand all this, and you cannot understand the true mind and the mundane mind. That's why all this understanding cannot come about, and the nature's potential and special, unique ability to bring forth this type of understanding and teaching. All this, they are inside there. That's why I said that book is very comprehensive, unique, beautiful, and really a true gem for cultivator of the way. So this one will really transform a lot of you. Oh, Mun Yuen, Sadhu, you will give rise to a good condition for me to share all this. You continue, Mun Yuen?
I think I will look forward to seeing this book, being published and reading it. Yeah. Actually, there's I realized that there's when I look back, like how I reacted last time, and when I've been happy or been negative, right?
Yes.
Now I think back, actually very easy. Why I need to react that way? And sometimes it is because of me also. I contributed to that situation because I didn't know how to handle, and I didn't.
And most people were in your shoe at that time because they cannot understand. So like Sui told me, you all listen to Chan Fong story or not? The Chan Fong 988, channel 988. He said a lot of people who call in, they got gambling habit and problem, until they become so chronic, their children don't talk to them, their wife decide to leave them, and they don't know what to do, that's why they keep on calling Chan Fong. And this is what is happening. Like you say, in the early day, before you comprehend all the Dhamma, you was very negative. And you can understand why you were negative then, because that was the you, Mun Yuen, at that time. So all these people, without the Dhamma, they end up like that. Then they ask, how come like that? Why their children all leave them? Their wife leave them.
Can't you see for yourself?
Yeah, they cannot. To them, they still think they did make mistake. They still think they sacrifice so much. Because without the awareness nature, the Dhamma understanding, you cannot see all this one. To them, the egoic mind try to reason through the thought process. They analyze. Then they cannot get the answer, they become miserable. Then they start to talk to somebody, like Chan Fong is the best. And they pour out everything. What they want is to have somebody to pour all these things out. And based on what they heard, really is like what the Dhamma expressed to us. Living being full of First Noble Truth, 8 reality problem. In fact, every one of them all entangled with the noble, the First Noble Truth, 8 reality. And a lot of them have multiple reality entanglement. So this is what the Buddha meant by the reality of life and existence, the First Noble Truth. The Noble Truth of dukkha. Suffering is everywhere, prevalence of suffering. They arise because the existential world is like that. Then he summarized them all into 8 reality. He said, when you go through life, you need to confront this 8 reality. And this 8 reality is the one that can trigger off suffering, misery, when you don't have the Dhamma understanding. That's why it's called a noble truth of dukkha. And dukkha is everywhere without the Dhamma understanding. And the first 7 refer to our life existential reality. That's why I call it the reality of life exists. Then the eighth one is the final summary. It summarizes everything. He said, in short, it is due to the individual's psychiatrity or self-delusion that condition them into grasping, clinging, and holding on to the five aggregates of form and mind. The first aspect and the second aspect that I call dukkha or suffering or misery. So all this is so beautiful. But the final summary can only be understood by the cultivator of the way who understands the meaning, the deep meaning of this five aggregate of form and mind. That's why you need to develop the understanding of who you are, what you are, and how you function as a human. But this is basically the five aggregate. The five aggregate is actually your form and mind that comes through the karmic process. And this is not the real you. This one is karmically conditional, dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomenon, not a permanent unchanging entity, not you, not what you think. So because of that, if you don't develop mindfulness or awareness to be aware of what is going on within your own form and mind or five aggregate of form and mind, then how can you understand life? To understand life, you have to be silent in the midst of life, to be aware so that you are not lost in thought, preoccupied with your thinking, your emotion, etc. To clearly understand what is happening in life. How are you conditioned into all those mind states that give rise to suffering, misery, your habitual tendency, how you react and stir your mind and develop all the habitual tendency, your views, your opinion, your conditioning, your belief system, your phobia, how you accumulate them and how you become what you are. That's why, like you understand now, you cannot blame anybody for what happened to you in your life. Like the Buddha said, we are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. And we are what we are because of karma. Unless you penetrate this fifth daily contemplation that the Buddha taught, you can never understand life. That's why most people cannot understand life. And without sati, mindfulness, awareness, you cannot understand life. So like Brother Kwa, he know, thought-based meditation cannot give rise to wisdom. It can give rise to a lot of knowledge, Dhamma knowledge. And all this cannot free because it's within the field of thought, entanglement. So you need to go beyond thought. That's why thought-based meditation will limit you and you cannot break out of the delusion. We call it the vicious cycle of delusion. You can only break free when you develop awareness-based meditation. Awareness-based meditation is to develop the ability to stabilize the inner awareness nature, to realize that you have another mind which is beyond the mundane thinking mind, the psychological time created by mundane thinking. Realizing that is the beginning of cultivation, is the beginning of understanding. Then from that silent, the awareness, you can observe, see, insight in the phenomenon, awaken to the three universal characteristics, and develop clear understanding of the whole teaching. Yeah, you witness them, you can put them to test, and they stand up to investigate. And this is the reality. This is what life is. Then the 3 period of time, I add in one. The understanding came from my own contemplation and stability or understanding after I developed the connection or awakening in 1989. Then I reflected, I contemplated, I went into all. That's why I can understand all this that I taught you in the Heart Sutra. How to see form, the unreality of form. Then only you can see beyond form. Then how to see mind, the unreality of mind. Then only you can see beyond mind. To realize the true nature within, which is beyond the psychological thinking. the mundane mind, then to transform that understanding into wisdom, to awakening your nature. Then when your nature awakens, the wisdom is connected to it. That's why with that, through the Trinity triangle for cultivation, you no longer develop the heedless thinking to cultivate thought-based meditation. You go the left-hand side. Develop the pure awareness to cultivate the direct seeing, to develop the wisdom. Then use that wisdom connected to the form and mind to live the noble life, the phase 3 of Dhamma Pativeda. And all these are in the book to come. So all this can actually trigger a lot of understanding to cultivate the way. Very good, Manya Sadhu. Wow, you created a lot of good conditions. Now you continue.
I think
I
need to listen again.
Yeah. Go and listen again. Wait for the book better. The book make it crystal clear. Today's sharing is very good. Today's sharing is meant to be, because before I start, I felt I should introduce this book. That was the nature's thought, the pure thought arise. And I say, okay. And I intend to have a short introduction on it. I end up introducing it quite long. Then after that, surprisingly, the Q&A, you come in and elaborated on that book. It's like meant to be. I need a session to explain this book's coming, so that people can look forward to it. Then when they receive it, you read, you will find out for yourself whether what I say today is true or not. You can be the, what you call witness or you can bear witness on what that book is based on what I have described. See whether it's an exaggeration or what. Actually, what I describe it is not sufficient to express what has come out of the book. In fact, after you all read through and develop the understanding, when we do some more sharing and brainstorming, there will be more things that will come out from there. Because this part that I talk about is before most of you all develop the ability to transform to that stage of the teaching that I share. Once you all transform to, not to say that stage, somewhere near those stages, the way we talk will be different again. And the way you understand the book will be different again. Very, very different again. That's why a lot of these things, my nature can foresee, like, it's meant to be, like this thing wants to come out and wants to bear witness to what this teaching is. It is not only unique, beautiful, but really wonderful, amazingly wonderful. Very good, Manyan, Sadhu. You continue.
Why we didn't understand, or those people who are not actually cultivated, not drawn to it, because it doesn't entice their 5 aggregates.
Yes.
It doesn't.
Yes. At that time, yes.
There's no like color lah, music lah.
Not exciting to them.
Exciting. Yes.
Until they get into trouble. Then when they get into trouble, they ask around, but they cannot understand this teaching. Even you give them the tip or what, they cannot understand. If I don't explain, they cannot understand. But most of them got karmic obstruction when they come to all this. That's why they need to attend the sharing or listen attentively to all the sharing. Then slowly, with the faith and determination, cultivate and develop all this understanding, and then only they transform. In fact, a lot of Kayamita, they able to transform and benefit is because they come, they listen, then they develop the faith, then they try it out. And most of them benefited in one way or another. And some not only benefited, after that become very serious and cultivate until they progress so well and transform, yeah, and they become so different. So this is a living Dhamma that can be experienced in real life based on the understanding that the Buddha has shared with us, the Buddha Dhamma that is been realized by the Buddha Sakyamuni and shared with the world. That's why we still have the sasana to receive this teaching. And for those who have the affinity and condition to receive them, it is a gem, a true gem. And it can give rise to so much benefits. Then the most important is to understand life and live life, the living Dhamma. That part is a precious gem that a lot of living beings actually searching for, yearning for it, but can't find it. So now there is the condition for all this to be understood. Suddenly the rain starts. Okay, Mun Yuen, let you continue. Yeah.
I like the book cover lah. I like the one. I don't know which version. The one with bluish.
The second version. We are going to adopt that one. Wow, you also same thinking as Brother Tim. Huh? Very good. Sui also like that version. I also like that version. So we are going to adopt that one. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Not to say the other two is not good, but the orange one, not orange, but was it green? The one with
the last one.
the last one. That one like even though there is a message there, but like very mechanical.
Yeah, mechanical. More older fashion. More down. I saw a lot of old Dhamma book, all of that. But the new version one I saw in the Amazon one, like I discussed with Suya, they are so futuristic, and they are more towards the cartoon format one. Because these are the youngster one, the younger generation. But the one that Sui come out on the second version, the bluish one, is futuristic. It's about the universe, the phenomenal world of consciousness, the timeless. Then the what they call the great void, or we call it nature. Actually, nature is depleted by blue, the blue sky, the blue ocean. That is what nature is all about. Then you have the phenomenal world of consciousness. Then you have the timeless essence, the tranquility, the still. That's why all this, you have to depict it in the form of a cover, which is not easy. But the idea that was thrown forward to us by Chui was very good. That's why from there we evolved the tree. Then finally, with the feedback from Brother Teo, now from you, I think we will adopt the version 2. In fact, a lot of Metta feel the version 2 is more futuristic and more appealing. The message is easier to pass on to reader of this type of book. Because what is important is the title, the striking word, ultimate enlightenment. Then followed by to transcend life. This heading is very beautiful. Then coupled with the understanding of the 3 periods of time, the physical time, the psychological time, and going beyond the psychological time to realize the timeless Dhamma, or what we call Akaliko. Very good, Sadhu. Thanks for the good feedback. The version 2, the blue color. Continue.
Another thing, I always see this saying, right? Like happiness is not outside you.
Yeah,
it's
true.
You. It's within you. Now can I before that? Mana, I really cannot understand.
Because most people cannot understand. Because they think to find happiness you have to chase for it, you got to go after it, But like I always say, we hold the key to our own life destiny. To be happy or to be miserable is entirely our choice. So learn to choose wisely. To choose wisely, you have to go in, understand? It's within you. You don't develop the awareness within, you cannot understand what is going on. And when you cannot understand, you cannot develop the wisdom, how can you have happiness? Understand? That's why happiness is within you. Your awareness nature. To develop this understanding. Then from there, you break free from all the delusion that has power over you and strong conditioning over the living being to make them miserable, afflicted, suffer. So all these are beautiful quotes. Most important thing is remember you hold the key to your own life destiny. When you have wisdom, all this understanding will free you and you will always be happy. People who are not happy is because they perceive life with negativity. Understand? When you perceive life with negativity wrongly, you sure unhappy on both songs. Like just now you mentioned, may say or haven't died before. Still think that there is a lot of fun in this world. And you go, live life that way, remain heedless, see what will happen. Yeah, the teaching is so clear. You got two choices. Be heedful and break free to have the happiness like the shadow that never leaves you to live life. The other one is to continue your heedless way of living. Then continue to act, speak and think with the heedless mundane mind that has the evil roots of greed, hatred and delusion that condition your suffering. So if you want suffering, you go Dhammapada verse 1. If you want happiness, you determine to be heedful, to cultivate mindfulness, heedfulness leading, mindfulness, awareness leading to heedfulness, to break free and to have all the joy and happiness in life. So all these are clear. Good, Manyan, Sadhu.
Yeah, all this is because of Brother Tio's Dharma lah. You know that like right now, whenever I'm in not very positive condition, I can step back lah. You won't like prolong like the next day or
Because
next.
you have understood. Most of the understanding is with you. And once you have that, all these conditions within the existential world will not have much power over you. It may initially like condition your habitual tendency to feel like unhappy for a while. But afterwards, the Dhamma surface, it will prompt you. And then you understand. Then you will go back to your normal life again. Then it will not affect you anymore. That is the power of Dhamma. That's why this Dhamma is awakening one. Can give rise to the understanding one. That's why Pacetang, Veditabo, Vinuhiti can be realized by the wise each for themselves. And once you have the Dhamma realized, you awaken, no more delusion. All these realities of life and existence, the first noble truth reality, has got no power over you because you have understood them. You know the noble truth or dukkha, the cause of its arising, the cessation. Once you have the wisdom, you will go through the cessation. And then to do that, you have to go through the path, the cultivation of the Noble Eightfold Path, the path that leads to the cessation of all suffering. So the whole Four Noble Truths, once you develop the understanding, it can help you understand life and transcend the existential world's delusion to have the good life. So all this will fall into place. Good. Sadhu.
Ravi, I just remember I can share this experience. Like, my boss, right? He likes to give feedback. So he will give feedback to everybody, including me lah. So sometimes when he give feedback to me, like maybe he say that he didn't like something I did lah, but he's quite general. So then I will ask him, can you give me a specific scenario? Because if you tell me this
Yes.
like that, I cannot appreciate it. So then he will like, cannot say anything lah because he didn't give me a specific
Correct.
example lah. Yeah. So he also very clever, So next time after a while he makes sure that he has a specific example. So
Then he say it to you.
then he say to me, so that the latest one he told me, just now during that meeting, he said, I was very quiet, he said lah, and he didn't like it lah because he thought that he should be supported by his subordinates lah.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
said
yeah, yeah.
and he said he noticed that I will only say something if he call my name. That means like, Mun Yuen, do you have anything to say?
Yeah,
Usually
yeah,
I will
yeah.
say. He said, if I don't call you, then you will just keep quiet. Then he said,
Oh, like that also you're not happy.
he not very happy because I can understand lah.
Yeah.
Doing another meeting, not only him fighting the battle alone, he want other people to support
Yeah, he need the subordinate to support him.
Yeah. So when I heard
Give
that,
confidence to him.
yeah. I mean, many voice is better than one voice then people will. So when I heard that inside me also a bit boson, I was thinking, you think I inside me lah.
That is a habitual stirring. But for a while only, it will be gone on.
Yeah, for a while only. I was thinking, so you think I don't know, that's why I keep quiet lah. I mean, inside my mind lah. Who said I don't know? I just don't want to say it out only.
Correct. That is his way of perceiving things, like Sui mentioned, the duality of the world. He thinks that way. So why you want to argue? He's the way he is. So when you have the understanding, you can see your habitual reaction also bosong. This is come from your conditioning in the past. But when you have the understanding already, you will laugh. He is the way he is. So if he want my support, maybe see how in future you got condition, I will support. Like we all listen to Dhamma, good Dhamma, we say sadhu, 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 and so. But maybe his case, he didn't create the situation or scenario to excite you to say sadhu, sadhu, to support him. So, but he's still the way he is. So don't have to worry. Just let things be.
But brother, this is how the working world works lah.
The career life, yes.
If you talk and you show that you know things, then the boss will take notice of you, and then I don't know, they will like you and then they promote you, right? I mean, you have to do it more often, a lot of time, not once only lah. But I'm not like that lah. So usually I'm very low profile, and people tend to actually a lot of times people say the same thing to me because I keep quiet. So then after like I step back, I feel bad, and then after that I thought about it. I didn't feel bad anymore, and then I was thinking,
then you can do it.
I can do it lah. I mean, he was also right lah. If you want me to say
because
something,
sometimes you can just come out and elaborate more to support him. That one is possible in a discussion. Like last time, I remember during my working days when I was still working for my company. So we went for one privatization job, very big now. So it is a major session now. We did a presentation at the Prime Minister Department now. And all of us consultants, we will have to be there, the key person. Then we have the architect, very well known. Then we have the client, we have all the other consultants and the supporting team. Then we present our privatization idea or the state. Then what happened was, there were some questions which were very tough from the technical team of the PM's department. And as usual, the owner straight away, consultant, what have you got to say? So the first guy that had to stand out, of course, is the architect. So the architect also smiled. He said, don't worry, he said, I will get my supporting consultant to answer you, because this one doesn't involve architecture, it involves civil engineering. He said, where he asked about traffic impact and all those things. Then my firm, which is my classmate, he was there, he's supposed to answer. And you know what happened? He panicked. He said, I cannot answer one. He asked me to go up and answer. In the middle of that scenario, but I knew because he cannot answer. He has panic attack of those things. And it's such a big scene, or Tai Chong Min, it's not easy. That's why I went up and spontaneous like the Dhamma, because I understand my scope very well. I explained it, and they were very happy with the answer. So all this can happen, Manya, no problem. When you develop the understanding, you're confident, you can also do it. And through that, you will impress a lot of people. After that, you know what happened? The client was so happy. He invited all of us, all the architect and the consultant, to go to his house, a very private area. I think Malawati or one. It's one of the Tan Sri, the owner. Then we were there having the special dinner there at his home. During the dinner, he talked to us. Then he want to know me. He said, can I get your name again? Then where are you from? So that's how the whole thing become like evolved. Then after that, the architect and all the other consultants, they really like to talk to me. Then before we went there, also the architect told us, hey, you're very lucky today. The owner willing to bring you to the house. The house, a lot of bodyguard, a lot of people cannot enter. So these are the things that can happen. And that was very long ago. I think easily 30 years ago. Where I already retired 23 years. Okay, Manya, time up already. You can wrap up.
Yeah, brother, thank you so much for the Dhamma of these years. I appreciate. It may not go in earlier, but surely, all will go in.
Yeah. Slowly, slowly filter in, and you will develop the joy like what happened over the past years. Good.
Thank you, Sadhu, brother.
Sadhu, okay, let us rejoice. Then we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. For those who missed the Q&A sharing today, listen to it. It's very useful, and you will develop a lot of understanding. Akasata Chil Bhumata Devanaga Mahindika Punyang Tang Anumoditwa Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasana Ittawata Chamehi Sampadan Punya Sampadan Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya Idang menya tinang hotu Sukita hontunya teyo Idang menya tinang hotu Sukita hontunya teyo Idang menya tinang hotu Sukita hontunya teyo Devo asatu kalena Sasa sampati hetu cha Vito bhavatu loko cha Raja bhavatu dhammiko Imina punyang kamina Mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu Yawa nivana patiya Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.